Well, it's another glorious morning here at P Street Garage. It poured all night, but it kind of looks like it wants to clear. In my last video, you saw that I had the radiator in and I had this engine running. So what I want to do now is, as I'm thinking I've got a good engine, is I want to start dressing this up a little bit. I do have chrome valve covers for this, because right now these are just loose, and whenever I run the engine, oil spews out and everything, but this is all just for trial. I do have chrome valve covers, and I do have a nice chrome air cleaner. And when I got the intake manifold for this engine, of course, if you watch any of my previous videos, you'll know that it came off the junk engine. But to make a long story short, there was this spacer that goes between the intake manifold and the carburetor. And I removed that. I decided not to use this, and I got shorter studs and everything because I was always concerned that maybe the engine would be too tall and then the hood would hit. But I have my hood on now, obviously, and it looks like I've got lots of clearance. And I do have a nice chrome air breather, and it's just back here. There's my chrome air breather back there. You can see that there. So I did tentatively fit that on there, and it looks like there's lots of clearance. These are the chrome valve covers there. So I want to try to get this all together. And for the chrome valve covers, I also went and bought these nice little butterfly bolts. And it was looking like there was not a lot of clearance here, so I'm thinking I want to put this back in. And also because sometimes if the carburetor, as you would know, if the carburetor is directly on the manifold, it might get too hot and it could cause vapor lock and whatnot. I've never really experienced a lot of that, but I'm going to put this back in. And I think because this has a, this was on a 74. And there was all kinds of, I made a little plate back here to block this passage off because there was all kinds of EGR stuff in that I don't want. But it does have this nice port that I think I'm going to route this to the back. And I'm going to use this for my, I'm going to replace this tube here. And that's for the vacuum off the transmission, for the automatic transmission, for the shifting. So I think I'm going to try that. I've got a spacer gasket on order that I got to pick up today, and I'm going to pop this carburetor off, and I'm going to put this back under here, so that'll raise the carb up a bit. And then I want to get the chrome valve covers on and the chrome air breather. And while I take this off, I think I'm going to take the opportunity to clean. I had this nice and yellow at one time, but I'm going to clean this up a little bit, maybe touch up the paint. And we can start dressing this engine up. And a few of the wires that are sorted, I mean, they're not all sorted, but a few that are, I could start rerouting those and start making this look a little bit better. Also, I did reinstall my doors. This door fits quite nice. You can see and these are not the doors that were on the car. These were the spare doors that came with the car. The doors that were on the car were pretty mangled. And so, of course, I still got to do the mirrors, hardware trim, but that's for another time. This door fits nice. I had a bit more of a time with this one. I had to fiddle around, try to adjust this one does not fit as good, but there's also no weather stripping or nothing. So I think that's okay for now. So that's where I'm at. Let's start dressing this up a little bit. Let's get this cleaned up. And let's see how we make out. Okay, well, I'm back out on the Mercury today. And I've just popped the carburetor off. And this is all for reinstallation of this spacer that I talked about. I just got my new gaskets. They just came, so new spacer and a gasket for this. I'm going to reinstall my longer studs. I have the studs right here. I think I do. I did. Here they are. So these are the longer studs that are going to accommodate the spacer. I'm going to, while I've got the carb off, I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit. So I had this looking really good. I'm going to clean this up, maybe touch it up with a little bit of paint if I have to. And I'm going to put this back together. And I would like to put the chrome valve covers on, as well as that air cleaner. And I even bought these fancy, like I mentioned, these butterfly type bolts that hold down the valve covers. Now, I don't know if they might not all fit, because there's some issues here where the carburetor sits there with the choke mechanism. I might not be able to get all the butterfly bolts in, but I'm going to try. Let's get all this out of the way. Let's get this cleaned up and start putting the shiny chrome stuff on. Okay, so I just cleaned the intake manifold the best I could. I had a little piece of cardboard there, trying to keep the overspray down. I've touched up the yellow. So that's looking as good as I'm going to make it. Like I said, it looked perfect when I had it on the bench and everything, but I mean, it's going to be okay. I've got my longer studs in. So let's get that spacer and these gaskets and the carb. Let's get this sandwiched back in. And then I want to get to the chromey stuff. That's fun. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, well, this is looking okay. Now, I hope I didn't go shooting my mouth off and the hood not be able to shut now, because it looked like I had all kinds of room. Now it looks kind of high again. That's probably why I had taken that off in the first place. But anyway, if this doesn't work, it could always be removed. I just thought it would look better if it was higher, and it would give more clearance for these butterfly bolts. So anyway, let's pull out these chrome valve covers. Let's see if we can put those in. Okay, well, here we have it. All chromed out. No place to go. I like it. Looks good. Oh, that sun's blinding you. I haven't seen the sun in 3 days, so it's kind of good anyway. Well, you know what they say. Chrome won't get you home. But it certainly looks good. And it certainly make the car go faster. It looks good. The hood shuts. I'm going to have to trim that bolt. Yeah, pretty happy about that. And chrome won't get you home. Well, the only thing that won't get you home is probably the fact that I worked on this. But anyway, enough of that. I'm happy. It looks good. Yeah, like I said in the earlier part, I got the doors on. Got this chromed out. I think the next time I come back out, and it may be a while because I may be going off to work and I may have to quarantine because everything here where I live has gone back into a lockdown. So when I do come back, I like to get the windshield at least laying in place and maybe start sanding the roof, sanding the sides, maybe do a little welding on the trunk. Sheet metal from Eckler's is still on back order, so I'm still waiting for that, but I will progress. I will make my way down. When I touched up the manifold this morning, I took out a little bit of Tremclad. This is Rust-Oleum Automotive. Can't find that anymore for some reason. This is Tremclad, and I think it went on a little bit brighter, but I think it may be close enough. Tremclad is Canadian Tire brand paint, or you can get it at Canadian Tire. It's pretty much the same as Rust-Oleum. So I should be able to carry on. I think these are close enough. So, okay. That's all. I'm going to sign off. Summit Racing.